Hey friend, Sean from Draft Therapy here, and on today's review for you, is there something wrong with my teeth? Black Fang is a 10% Imperial Stout from Illuminated Brew Works in Chicago, Illinois. I'm branching a little outside of Michigan on today's video, and I'm going to be taking a look at Black Fang, which comes to us from Illuminated Brew Works in Chicago. I mean, if you really think about it, Chicago isn't really that far geographically outside of Michigan, so I don't think any vortexes will open. I think we should be okay. A thing that drew me to this beer is a little line above the main label, but before we can talk about the label, I'd like to thank my executive producers Ryan Barry, Eric Latowski, Brian Kramer, Zach, and Cam Freeman for helping bring this review to you today. If you'd like to become a producer, help out the channel, or maybe just buy me a beer, take a look at my Patreon at patreon.com/draft_therapy, where you can get early access to these videos, exclusive patron-only live streams, and a few other special perks. So let's take a look at the label and we'll get to what I was talking about. So if we look at the label on the side, it has this coiled up snake. Next to that, it says stout with coffee, cocoa, and Vietnamese cinnamon, Black Fang from Illuminated Brew Works. 10% alcohol by volume, 1 pint. And on the side here, it says, enjoy with people you trust, brewed and packaged by Great Central Brewing Company, Chicago, Illinois, for Illuminated Brew Works. And then it has their triangle with an eye in it. It says ingest, kind of reminds me a little bit of some kind of Illuminati symbol. And it says, made with dark matter chocolate city coffee. And yeah, that's about it. There's not a whole lot more. I like the label that it's so kind of pared down. There's not, some of Illuminated other beers have kind of more colorful labels, but this one just really kind of stands out. This one was canned on November 23rd, 2020. It is late January that I'm recording this. It's a high ABV Imperial Stout. I think that we should be okay with that. So let's go ahead and crack it open. We'll put a nose on the can here. We'll be using a large snifter glass. Let's go ahead and crack it. And putting a nose on the can here. Getting a really strong coffee vibe out of this one. Let's go ahead and pour it. We'll see if we get a better nose out of the glass. But looking at it as we pour it, it's really dark. It's not super, super opaque, but it is very dark brown. Has a bit of a cola coloration to it. And pouring it right down the center there. I'm going to churn up a little bit more of that head. And I think we're seeing about a finger and a half, 2 fingers worth of head. A nice kind of darker, almost dark tan. It's not quite coffee colored head, but it's a dark tan head. Not super dark. Bubbles are really nice and compact. A little bit of some larger ones on the top there. Let's go ahead and hold this one up to the light. And holding up to the light, very dark, obviously very opaque, not seeing through that. It is a stout, so that's what you should expect. If I look at the bottom of the bulb of this glass, I do see a little bit of a lighter brown slash really kind of a muddied red color. And putting a better nose on the glass here, I'm getting a bit of a chocolatey aroma, a dark chocolate, and I'm getting coffee. So that, that usually ends up being, a pretty good combination for me. And I think I might actually be able to pick up on a little bit of a cinnamon on the nose. Let's go ahead and try it out. Cheers. Lots of flavors going on here. Really nice, kind of rich flavors. But let's talk about the mouthfeel. It's a little bit heavier than medium. Not quite syrupy. Not really super thick, but it has a nice kind of like heavy, medium to heavy mouthfeel. It does coat your tongue quite a bit. So it kind of clings onto your tongue. A really nice kind of flavor, or a real nice mouthfeel, creamy mouthfeel, really creamy. That's the number one thing, that even though it's a medium mouthfeel or medium to heavy mouthfeel, it does have a very creamy mouthfeel as well. And let's talk about the flavor here. That creamy flavor really helps complement the nice dark chocolate flavor that's in there. It's such a nice, deep, dark chocolate flavor that it also plays very well and very closely to that coffee flavor. So the coffee and the chocolate work in tandem and really just create this really fantastic flavor that sometimes when you hit coffee and it gets really, really dark and bitter, you start to get a little bit of that dark chocolate flavor. So it's not quite so bitter on the chocolate end. I'd say it probably leans a little bit closer to the chocolate side and not the coffee side. It's not super, super bitter coffee, but it also does have that really slight, on the back end, there's this really slight cinnamon flavor that just kind of hangs out on the back of your palate, and that's just got a really nice mouthfeel. You know, it adds a really nice flavor to that dark chocolate, that deep dark chocolate, the bitter coffee, but that cinnamon is just a nice note. It's not overpowering. It's not a really strong flavor. It's not a really strong kind of punch, but it's just enough to let you know it's like a nudge. It's like it's a gentle nudge. It lets you know that it's there, but it adds so much to the flavor, because if it was just dark chocolate and coffee, that would be great. Because that bitterness of the chocolate really helps, you know, sweeten up or kind of thin out the bitterness of the coffee. Again, not super bitter coffee, but that cinnamon's just that extra note that just says, hey, I'm here too. Let's balance the flavor out. Let's kind of bring it out of that bitter zone and add that kind of that cinnamon kind of smokiness that it can add. It just has a really nice fudgy dark chocolate mouthfeel to it, with, again, that little bit of coffee bitterness. When I was looking at this label, like I said, I thought the thing that was really kind of interesting is that it says Vietnamese cinnamon here, and that made me immediately think of something like a Perrin No Rules. Of course, Perrin No Rules is bourbon barrel aged. I'm interested to, you know, to see what No Rules would be like non-bourbon barrel aged, and I think it would be pretty close to this, but I think if they were both kind of the same deal and not, you know, if we had No Rules that wasn't barrel aged, I think it would be pretty close to this, but I think this might be better, and I'm really kind of surprised that I'm saying that, because I think No Rules itself is a really good beer in its own right. But wow, yeah, I'm really just impressed with Black Fang here. I was kind of going into it, and like I said, and I've said in other videos, sometimes you read what's on the label and it's not really, you know, it sounds really good, but when you get it, it almost feels like you got sold a false bill of goods, because you don't necessarily get the flavors that it says on the label. But I think with this one, you definitely get the coffee, you definitely get the cocoa and the really dark chocolate, you get the cinnamon there, and I think they just play really well together. This is the first beer I'm ever having from Illuminated Brew Works, but I'm really looking forward to see what else they have, and what, you know, what other beers we get here, and what other kind of, can they, you know, kind of blow my mind with those beers as well. All right, friends, that has been Black Fang from Illuminated Brew Works out of Chicago. Have you had this beer before, or do you have another favorite from Illuminated Brew Works, or maybe even Chicago in general, that you think I should try? Let me know in the comments down below. While you're down there, if you like beer, you might want to subscribe and click that bell, because I'm here talking about beer twice a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays. It's all for free for viewers just like you, and you might miss your newest favorite if you're not subscribed and getting those notifications. So until next time, I'm Sean from Draft Therapy. Thanks for stopping by. Remember, drink craft beer, support your local breweries wherever they are. This one's in Chicago. Until next time, don't forget to treat yourself to a little draft therapy. Thanks for watching, everybody. Cheers.